Welcome, folks. Behind me is the kickoff to TV West Fest. Some of your favorite stars are sitting at the table relaxing before the event kicks off tomorrow. And to be able to sit down and meet with you and have some autographs and tell some stories. So tonight's the night to relax. Fiesta, shindig, right here at TV West Fest. I know you can't make it this year, but you better make sure you make it next year. It looks like it's going to be a great party, right, kid? I see a couple people I can't wait to meet, like Darby Hinton, Michael McGreevy. A lot of different people like Mitch Vogel I just saw walk by from Bonanza. We're going to meet them all. You're going to meet them right here on Draw Western Theater. On location, TV West Fest in
Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson, Arizona. Come on, kid, let's mingle. Folks, you're watching Draw Western Theater, WBON, Richmond's very own Channel 9. Brought to you by
Van Chrysler,
Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Richmond. Folks, welcome to a very special guest star on Draw Western Theater. Let you introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, my name is Billy Gray. I'm the curator and chairman of the Audie Murphy and Medal of Honor Museum in Tombstone, Arizona.
And we are all big Audie Murphy fans here on Draw Western Theater. And Mr. Gray is going to tell us a lot about the museum, where we can see it and what all it's involved in, and the projects he's involved in. So where exactly is the Audie Murphy Museum located?
We're right in the downtown area of Tombstone on 4th Street, just off of Fremont, next to the Masonic Lodge.
And do you have a website people can go to?
Oh, yes, I do. It's AudieMurphyMuseum.com.
That's a perfect name for an Audie Murphy museum.
I think so, too.
Now, you're currently, I heard you're also talking about moving into a larger area because the museum's starting to expand more and more.
That is correct. We're trying to get a location up on Allen Street because my great friend Michael Dante, who starred with Audie Murphy in 2 of his movies, and we're very good friends, wants to open the Michael Dante Western Museum, so we would have 2 museums co-located together up on Allen Street, which is the main drag in Tombstone.
Oh, wouldn't that be great, folks? We actually had a chance to watch them last night. We watched a movie called Arizona Raiders with Michael Dante and Mr. Audie Murphy. And then afterwards, we had the pleasure of watching you all sit on a panel and talk about the movie. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that immensely.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to get started with the show, and we're going to ask you, can you stay over and talk with us about Audie Murphy a bit?
I sure can. He's my favorite subject.
Oh, awesome. So, folks, we're going to get to the show here on Draw Western Theater. We're live at TV West Fest in Tucson, Arizona, and we'll be right back.
Here they come, George. You take the one on the left. All right, that's far enough, boys. Unbuckle them. Let's take them, Clegg. How bad did he hit you? I'll live. That one's done for. How about him? My eyes. I can't see. Help me. Help me, someone help me. I can't see. Help me. I can't see. I can't see.
Their names were Thad Janik and Clegg Wiley. On the afternoon of July 7th, 1868, they blazed their way into our bank in Denver, gunned down our banker, Sam Gallagher, and forced his daughter, Mary, to open the vault for them. They'd stuffed 2 canvas bags full of gold and greenbacks and ridden off with $71,000. That's a big chunk of money to take out of a town of 6,000 population. On our police force, there are only 9 men. I'm a detective on that force, named Smith. My partner's George Romack. We take our orders from our chief, John Richards, and his orders had been to bring back that money and the men who stole it. We had the men all right, but not the money. And only one man could lead us to it. And he was blind.
Yeah, he's blind, all right.
Will he ever see again?
Hard to tell.
You mean I don't have a chance?
I didn't say that. Last time I saw a case like yours, a man got his sight back completely. Pressure on the optic nerve. An operation relieved it.
Then operate on me.
I'm no surgeon. Closest eye specialist is 1,000 miles away in St. Louis. And his price comes high.
I'll pay him anything he wants. With what? I got the money. You talk like it was yours.
Look, Janik, I'm sorry about what happened to your eyes. We'll try to help you if we can. But you're going to have to help us, too. Tell us where you hid that money.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? Listen, lawman. I may never see you again, but you won't see the money either. You finished, Doc?
Yeah. I'll send over a bottle of medicine to help with the pain. I'll look in again tomorrow. Hey, Chief. You get that telegram from Santa Fe yet?
No, not yet. But you boys shouldn't mind waiting. Jail's like a home to you.
What do you think, Smitty? What are we going to do about that money? He's never going to talk.
Only one thing we can do. Get some men together and search that whole valley.
Well, that valley's 30 miles long. He could have hit it anywheres.
He's right. I'm afraid it's a wild goose chase.
Well, this particular wild goose is worth over $70,000. I think it's worth a try.
So they finally caught up with you, sad boy.
Who are you?
An old friend of yours, Ben Avery.
Avery?
Yeah, my brother Rex is here, too. We helped you pull a little job a couple of years ago.
The bank at Echo City, remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember. That was, quite a haul.
And maybe you also remember you didn't hang around and divvy it up. You just grabbed it and lit out.
Where's it now, Thad?
You ever hear of wine, women, and song?
No, I can believe that.
What are you boys in here for?
Suspicion of robbing a stagecoach.
Only we were in jail in Santa Fe when it happened.
Sounds like you made another haul, Thad. Where'd you hide that money?
Now, I don't know what money you're talking about. I'm not about to tell you.
You know something? I'm glad about what happened to your eyes. Real glad.
We'd searched Locust Valley for 3 full days, trying to find the money Janik had hidden. But it rained the first day out and washed away any tracks we might have followed. We had no luck at all. And then at the bank came a hint of further trouble. When I had told Mary Gallagher and some of her depositors that we hadn't found their money, a desperate mortgage-ridden farmer spoke for the others. Either you get Janet to talk, he said, or we will. There are ways of forcing him.
Smitty, they don't mean use force. They're just scared. That money means life or death to them.
I know that.
Well, isn't there anything else we can do?
There might be. Mary, you said the other day you'd give a $2,000 reward. Did that still hold?
Of course.
I'll see you later. Janet?
What do you want?
I'm in the office. I want to talk to you. down, Johnny. How would you like a chance to get your eyes back?
Don't say that, Smith. Not unless you really mean it.
I mean it.
Well?
This town needs that money you stole real bad. You let me be your eyes and guide us to it. The money's back in the bank. We'll send to St. Louis and get that specialist. Bring him out here and let him operate on you. The bank put up a $2,000 reward. That'll pay the cost.
What happens to me after that?
That'll be up to a jury. The operation's the only trade we can make. How about it?
All right, you got a deal. When do we leave?
I'll let you know.
Here's that telegram from Santa Fe.
Put him back, will you, Jim?
I don't know. I don't like it. What if he's got friends on outside waiting to help him?
The kind of friends he have would keep the money. He knows that. It's about the Averys. I'm gonna have to turn them loose. You really think Janek's gonna lead you to it?
May take some time. I'll need a pack horse and some supplies.
He offered you a deal, didn't he? What was it?
Nothing.
Was it about the money? Look, Thad, don't be a fool. He's a lawman. If you want to make a deal, make it with us. We're your own kind.
Yeah. I know that. That's what I don't like about you.
Oh, come on, Thad, boy. I was just trying to do a favor for a blind man. No hard feelings. Here. Have a smoke.
Thanks.
That's your idea of a joke? Burning a blind man?
All right, you men. Your horses are out in front. Get on them and keep riding.
Well, what do you know? The chief found out we were telling the truth.
And probably for the first time in your life. Now get me. See you in the morning, Johnny. We're leaving early.
The sooner we leave, the sooner that eye specialist gets here.
Don't forget to ride.
As we headed out of Denver toward Locust Valley, the hopes of many people rode with us. But my spirits were high. I thought the only problem I faced was whether or not a blind man could find the proverbial needle in a haystack.
Where are we?
Rock Creek turnoff. Trail splits here. North Fork follows the ridge, South Fork goes down to the river.
We took the South Fork.
You sure?
Is there a big red rock up ahead? Sort of shaped like an Indian head?
Yeah, just off to the right.
We rode just under it. There's a trail about a half mile down the river. That's where we turned off.
Hold up a minute. Turn off just about here.
I thought you couldn't see.
I can't, but I can hear. There was a waterfall not too far away. Hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
Mister, when a man loses his eyes, he's got to see with his ears. Mine ain't lying to me. This is the place, all right.
I don't see any side trail.
We turned off by a big pine tree. Its trunk was split down the middle.
Got a good memory, Johnny. There it is just up ahead.
We ride fast, we can catch up with them easy.
We don't want to catch up with them. Not yet. Ha!
That rabbit sure smells good. So does the coffee. Funny how a man takes all his senses for granted when he's got 'em all. I ever get my eyes back, Smith, I'm going to be a changed man. I'll never be able to get my fill of just looking.
What's wrong?
We're being followed.
I don't hear anything.
I tell you, somebody's following us. Horses, 2 of them. Coming down the same trail we took. They're slowing down. But they're still coming.
Coffee comes later.
Smith, where you going?
Just sit quiet. I'll be right back.
Welcome back, folks. We're talking with Mr. Billy Gray about the Audie Murphy Museum in Tombstone, Arizona, and about the legend himself, Mr. Audie Murphy. How did you first start researching Mr. Audie Murphy?
Well, my mom and my aunt both worked with Audie back in the 1940s. My aunt was one of his voice coaches, and my mom worked with him at Universal Studios from about 1949 through about 1957. I met him twice. First time at Disneyland in 1956, and again in 1964 when I was Cadet Lieutenant Colonel with the California Cadet Corps. He was at a party that I knew about. I was able to get an invitation, and I spent about 2 hours talking to him.
Oh, 2 hours. I bet that was an amazing 2 hours talking to him.
It was totally unbelievable.
Well, you know, and you mentioned something that a lot of people probably don't know about Audie Murphy, that he took voice lessons. He took acting serious. He took acting lessons constantly, voice lessons, because he really wanted to be the best he could be. And a lot of people don't give him as much credit for being a fine actor as he was. He was a very fine actor.
You're 100% correct. Audie first was under contract to Jimmy and William Cagney in 1945. And when they first brought him to California, they could see that he could speak English, but nobody could understand him because of his thick northeastern Texas drawl.
Now, didn't Jimmy Cagney put him up over a gym in downtown L.A. when he first brought him in?
The story behind that is William Cagney and Audie had some kind of a dispute. So William Cagney was in charge of the production company. Him and Audie had some type of a dispute. They broke the contract with Audie. Then Audie had to go live at a YMCA, and then lived at the gymnasium owned by Terry Hunt, a good friend of his. His first wife, Wanda Hendricks, was very instrumental in taking over his career. She starred with him in 2 movies. She then helped with his voice training and acting lessons. And she was very instrumental in getting him his 2 walk-on parts, and then his first starring role, which was a movie called Bad Boy in 1948.
I remember it well. After that he did Red Badge of Courage, wasn't it?
I believe Red Badge of Courage was done in 54 or
54, so it was a while. So he had quite a bit of training time in there on set between pictures, before the Red Badge of Courage.
Audie was a consummate perfectionist. Anything he attempted to do, he wanted to do it the best possible way. So he was always training, always working on his lines to make sure everything was perfect. Because I guess he didn't like to do retakes.
And it's amazing too. We were talking about one day that when a lot of stars would be going to their trailers and stuff, they said that if you wanted to find Audie Murphy, you could go. He was usually hanging around the stuntmen or around the crew. He wasn't usually in the trailer relaxing with the other stars.
That's exactly correct. He felt himself as a plain, ordinary person. Even though he was the most decorated soldier of World War II, and a movie actor and a TV star, he always liked to be around the common people. So he also learned from the stuntmen how to work his own stunts.
Oh, and he was a very physically fit man. He always took good care of himself, didn't he?
That's correct. He did not drink, he did not smoke, he watched his diet, he exercised on a regular basis, because he did have a 50% disability from his military wounds from World War II.
Oh, what was that disability? Was it back injuries or just all over injury?
He was shot in the right lower hip area by a German sniper. And the round, he eventually recovered from it, but when he got out of the military and out of the Army in 45, they determined that he was disabled at 50%.
Wow. Well, folks, let's get back to the show, and we're going to talk some more about Mr. Audie Murphy with Billy Gray from the Audie Murphy Museum in Tombstone, Arizona. We'll be back in just a bit.
Smith? Is that you?
You're right. The two friends from the next cell.
I was afraid it was them. They're after the money. They'll kill us to get it.
I don't think so.
Look, I've ridden with them before. They're fast guns that take what they want.
They won't touch us till they see that money come out of the ground. I think we'll let them see it. First thing tomorrow morning.
We won't be there that soon.
We know that. But they don't. This is as good a place as any.
Right here. Don't move unless I tell you.
Don't give him a chance, Smith. Gun him down.
Thanks, but I'll take him alive if I can. Canvas bags. I'll have them out of here in a minute.
No, you won't, Smith! Rex, you get him? Smith, what happened? Smith? Smith?
It's a car now. Give us your help.
What did you say?
Slow it down, Ben. I don't want to kill you.
Smith! You can't leave me! Smith! 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 Smith,
Janik!
Smith! Smith, Smith!
How did you get down there?
I fell. I can't get out. Help me, will you?
You all right?
Did you get them both?
Yeah.
Smith, don't ever leave me alone again. I need you. You're the only eyes I got.
Come on.
How much further do you figure we've got?
Well, it's noon now. We ought to be there before dark. Say, my head's paining me. Where's that medicine the doc gave me?
Over in that pack. I'll get it for you in a minute.
No, let me try. Just tell me which way to go.
It's about 30 feet straight ahead of you. The ground's level.
What's wrong?
You almost got yourself bitten by a rattlesnake.
I guess I owe you my life, Smith. Sure glad you got eyes to see for both of us.
Yeah. Well, from now on, if you need anything, you just sit still. I'll get it for you.
See that big oak tree you told me about?
There's some jagged rocks down at the foot of it.
That's right.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Looks like we made it. Where is it?
Look for the biggest rock around. There's a log near it. Money's under a little rock next to it.
sure didn't bury them very deep.
We were in a hurry.
I sure do want to thank you, Smith. Delivering me here safe and sound. Even digging up the money for me. By rights, I guess I ought to give you a reward. Let you keep 1,000 or 2. But I'm greedy. I want to keep it all for myself.
That's what I figured. But it won't work, Jack.
That's not what this rifle says.
What does it say?
You really want to hear?
Well, listen good.
Throw it away. I dehorned that thing a long time ago, when I found out you could see again.
When was that?
That rattlesnake back in camp. You heard the Avery brothers a half a mile off. All of a sudden, you couldn't hear a rattlesnake 10 feet in front of you.
There'll be another time, Smith. I got my eyes back anyway. Next time, I'll have my own gun.
You got your eyes back, all right. But you want to know something? You still can't see. Almost like carnival time in Denver when we got back to town. And no one minded the nonsense that went on. For the strange adventure had ended as all of us had wanted it to. The working men from the farms and mines who had lost their savings got their money back. And the bank opened its doors again. As for Thad Janik, he played blind man's bluff and lost. He proved a truth that those who wear a badge have always known. That every man has 5 senses. But a lawman must have a 6th sense. The sense that warns him when a rattlesnake's coiled and ready to strike.
See, I think I know the facts. You know the facts. so I love correcting it for other people.
Audie turned out to be a very good prize fighter. When he was living at the gymnasium, this is before his movie career, the trainers saw that he was so good at prize fighting that they tried to convince him to give up his pursuit of the movie profession
And become a prize fighter.
a professional boxer.
What was he? Been a middleweight?
He would have been a lightweight, I think.
Lightweight?
Or a welterweight or something like that, because he was only 5'7", at around 130 pounds. So.
Well, you know, you had mentioned about it when he went into the service. That kind of surprised me, what his weight and height was at that time. Because when you see pictures of Audie Murphy, everybody pictures him as he looked into Hell and Back in the movie.
Right.
But when he actually went in the military, he looks like the kid here.
Exactly.
He does.
He never looked old. And last night in Arizona Raiders, because I get the two movies confused.
Me too. I love both movies.
Yeah.
I do the same.
Anyway, so Audie was 40 years old in that movie, and the way he was jumping around and jumping over
And
the
still had that baby
fences,
face.
and he always had the baby face.
Well, you know, one of the things I had mentioned that is a myth that has been around for years. I knew he did some gambling. He liked gambling, but it was his money. But they always say he drank a lot.
No,
and he didn't, did he?
That is a total fallacy. Audie did not drink, he did not smoke, primarily because he had a bleeding ulcer and he did not want to give a bad representation to the youth of America.
Isn't that amazing that he has that kind of forethought to think, I don't want to appear in public, even off the screen, in public, looking drunk or looking, so that is just a very, very honorable trait of Mr. Audie Murphy.
Most definitely.
Now, we had also talked about, there was a couple of movies that really stand out to me with Audie. Of course, I love To Hell and Back. I love every Western Audie Murphy ever did.
Well, him and John Wayne were friends.
I thought they were.
And they always wanted to do a movie together, but because of scheduling conflicts, they just never could put it together.
Oh, that's a shame. Isn't that a shame?
They both had ranches in Arizona. John Wayne had his very large ranch, and Audie had about an 18,000-acre ranch outside of Vail, Arizona.
Well, now, on Red Badge of Courage, he was playing, of course, the young man in it and everything, but his performance in it was outstanding. It really was. It showed a real range that most people didn't know he could do.
That's 100% correct. And he studied heavily to be the best that he could at his trade.
And how many Westerns did you say he did?
Audie made a total of 44 movies altogether. Approximately 32 of them were Westerns, and he did other genres. He also did a comedy with Burgess Meredith.
What was that called?
That was called Joe Butterfly.
Oh, I remember it now when you say that.
And he did a movie about his prize-fighting prowess called World in My Corner.
I remember that one too. And so he was also a very good dramatic actor. He got some incredibly good notices for a movie called The Quiet American.
Yes.
And they shot that, I believe, in Europe. The notices on it was that Audie Murphy is the finest performance he had given, and it was a non-Western. But then he, of course, he could have at that point, I think, went either way with his career, but he just loved doing Westerns.
He loved doing Westerns because he got to ride his own horses, and Audie did ride his own horses in his movies because he knew their gait, he knew how they handled.
You need to mention the hip wound. I wonder how much trouble that gave him on horseback.
It never appeared to do anything negative to him because he worked to overcome the problems that he had with his hip.
Oh, and he also just rode like the wind. I mean, It was amazing. In the movie we watched last night, you could actually tell it was him on his horse and Dante on his horse.
Yes.
It was amazing to see those two guys riding at such high speeds, firing back and forth at each other, those six-shooters. Well, now, the six-shooter brings up an interesting thing about Audie Murphy. There's always the legend that there was the fastest people in Hollywood.
Yes, I've heard that Audie was in the top 5 of the fastest draws in Hollywood.
Folks, we'll be right back. We're going to talk about that when we come back, okay?
Well, you should have let me go. Could have saved yourself some trouble. You don't know it yet, but you're working for me.
There are 9 of us with the Denver Police Department. Or there were until last night. Now there are 8. The chief, 5 officers, and 2 detectives. One of them's George Romack, the fellow who stopped the prisoner from getting away last night. I'm the other one, named Smith.
Smitty,
Hi, Laura.
I just heard about Barney Hennessy. How'd it happen?
Oh, he's bringing in a prisoner, a couple of men laying for him.
Who did it?
We don't know yet.
Smitty? How's Barney's wife taking it?
She's holding up. It's going to be tough for her and the kid.
Smitty, I'd like to...
Now, Laura, you don't have to do
Give
that.
it to her. But don't say nothing about me. She might get the wrong idea.
Thanks, Laura. Yeah?
What'd you find?
Stayed at the Denver house the night before last. No names on the register.
How about the horses?
Stole them from a ranch up on Cherry Creek. Found the saddlebags. Not much here. Get anything out of him?
He keeps saying he doesn't know anything about him.
Let's see what I've got in my book. Gary.
See what he has to say about this.
Go through this, Callan.
So, you got no idea who those 2 men were?
I told you, could have been a couple of friends of mine. I got lots of friends.
But they were with you when you took that bank at Cheyenne last month. Those 2 and 5 others.
Well, what gives you that idea?
This.
Well, Alfie. So you've been keeping a history on me.
That's right, Garrity. Keep a history on every lawbreaker. Never know when it'll come in handy. Like now.
Well, we'll see how this stuff's going to do you any good.
I'll tell you how. Says there were 8 men in that express office holed up in Laramie. And 8 men took that UP payroll last fall in Ogallala. Now, we've got those 2 in the morgue. We've got you here. At least 5, doesn't it?
Sure is good at arithmetic, ain't he?
Who are they, Garrity?
Answer him.
Why?
I'll take care of this, Smitty.
Smitty? Is this the great Whispering Smith?
Yeah. You're gonna get to know him a lot better before you're through.
Whispering Smith? Him? Well, sonny, you ain't took to shaving, have you?
Tried it a couple of times.
Right. I want to know about those 2 men. I want to know who they were and how they knew you were around in Tennessee. There are some other things I want to know, too.
How much do you get, George? George.
I'm counting.
Laura.
How's Richards doing with Garrity?
Not too good. You talked to him last night, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to him.
You tell him he's gonna hang?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think about that?
He ain't worried.
I wonder why. Say, you got no idea.
No, I got no ideas why.
Something wrong with you.
No.
Something's chewing on you. You can tell
Smitty,
me.
there's nothing eating on me.
All right.
$314.38. Barney's laid out in his coffin, and we squared with $314.38. And it'll be 2 years tomorrow.
How's that?
That's how long they've been married. Just 2 months to the day longer than Edie and me.
George, what does Edie think about all this?
I told her not to. She marries me. This is the kind of deal she'll get.
George Romack, I'm tired of this. Whatever it is, you better get it off your chest. Come home. Slam the door. Eat dinner without even saying hello.
Edie, I told you I've had a hard
I
day.
had a hard day, too. How do you think I felt spending all day with Nora Hennessy? Telling myself there, but for the grace of God.
Edie, will you shut up?
It's true, isn't it? It could have been you just as easy as Barney. I come home needing you like everything. And the first thing you've got to say is, pack up and go see your mother in Cincinnati. To tell me that now
When what?
when I need you right now more than ever.
Edie, you can stay here for the rest of your life if you want. I told you it was just a suggestion. Edie. I love you so much it hurts.
George.
I'll get it.
Good evening, George.
Well, it's kind of like this, as near as I can remember. Of course, I didn't make a study of the guy, you understand.
How long before the shooting did he come into the saloon?
Well, it was about 5 minutes.
He drink alone?
Yeah, at first. Then he moved down the bar to these two fellas. They talked for a couple of minutes. Scarface must have tipped him off Hennessy was riding in.
Have you seen Scarface since the shooting?
No, not a sign of him. Of course, like I told George this morning, there was so much excitement after the shooting and everything.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
George.
George Romack. He stopped in the saloon this morning. I told him about Scarface. Didn't he tell you, fellas? These guys keeping secrets? Yeah, he stopped in to collect for Mrs. Hennessy.
Sure.
Oh, that reminds me. You fellas will be going to the wake. Would you give her these?
Expect she can use them.
Yeah. Well, night.
Night, Corky. Before he went home, I asked him if he had anything to report.
Probably slipped his mind, see?
Why are you trying to defend him?
Defend him? What's he done?
I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I knew what he did for a living before he ended up in my department on your say-so.
Nothing wrong with George Romack. Got a wife? Baby coming? Just thinking how I could be his wake tonight instead of Barney's.
If he lets that stand in his way, he's got no business on the force.
Chief, how many kids have you got?
I don't know, Smitty. I don't know what they talked about. George sent me out of the room.
What happened after the fellow left?
George sat in here by himself for a long time. Didn't want to talk. Sometimes he gets that way, and I've learned just to let him be. Then, well, after a spell, he came into the kitchen. Said he thought he'd go over to Hennessy's wake.
How long ago was that?
A couple of hours. I'm worried about him, Smitty.
I am, too. He never showed up at Hennessy's. How long's he been this way?
An hour. But it wasn't my fault, Mr. Smith. He went behind the bar and got the bottle himself.
George,
Go away, will you?
come on, let's go.
Oh, gee, was a guy.
I don't know anyhow. What do you want to do this for, Smitty? Smitty. Come on, Smitty, leave me.
Need some coffee, Corky.
That's enough.
We're back, folks. We're talking to Mr. Billy Gray from the Audie Murphy Museum in Tombstone, Arizona. Now, we had mentioned about the fast draw because I heard a legendary story about that, but I also heard that Audie Murphy was in the top 5.
Yes, he was definitely in the top 5. In fact, he also gave some lessons to Roy Rogers to increase his speed.
Really? He gave lessons to Roy? Wouldn't you have loved to sat in on those lessons?
Oh, my God, yes.
That would have been amazing. We did a show on Roy Rogers, and we had the opportunity to speak with his daughter. His daughter gave us some great insights. So I can't imagine sitting watching those two practice quick draw.
Well, they were very good friends because they both had ranches in Southern California. Roy had his ranch over there in the Apple Valley, Victorville area, and Audie had his ranch in Menifee, which was part of his horse breeding operation. So they would go back and forth to each other's ranches because they liked to do the same thing. They liked to be by themselves out on the open range, shooting their guns, riding their horses, and having fun with their dogs.
Oh, just to spend one afternoon with those two would have just been just amazing.
Oh, it would have been phenomenal.
Well, I heard the story, and I don't know, the old adage about whenever the fact becomes legend, but there was the story that Hugh O'Brien got quite full of himself when he got to practicing his quick draw. And that one day he actually went and put it all over Hollywood. He said, I want to do a quick draw against Audie Murphy. And so they said word finally got back to Mr. Audie Murphy, and Audie Murphy said, tell him I'll be glad to meet him anywhere, any place, but we're going to do it for real and we'll use real ammo. And said he never heard another word on Hugh O'Brien.
That is exactly correct.
Is that true? Is that a true story?
Yeah.
That's
because
amazing.
I believe that Hugh O'Brien knew that Audie was faster and that Audie took everything serious. So he's not going to play game just to pull his weapon out of his holster. He's going to do it, and he's going to shoot.
Oh, that's an amazing story. And it's wonderful to hear that the story is actually real.
Yeah, it is real.
Well, now tell us about your future plans for the museum.
Well, what we're trying to do is to move up onto Allen Street, which is the main drag in Tombstone, to create the Michael Dante Western Museum so that we would have 2 venues in Tombstone, the Audie Murphy Medal of Honor Museum and the Michael Dante Western Museum.
Well, folks, let's get back to the show, and we're going to talk some more about Mr. Audie Murphy with Billy Gray from the Audie Murphy Museum in Tombstone, Arizona. We'll be back in just a bit. Very good.
I should have told you this when you got me the job. His name's Duggan. I rode with him and Garrity once down in Texas.
That was 5 years ago.
How'd you know?
I know. I knew before you were hired.
And you didn't tell Richards? Why?
I had a feeling about you. Hunch, maybe. I figured you decided to leave Texas behind you. Was I right? Then let's forget it. What Duggan have in mind?
Well, I'm in charge tomorrow night, and they want me to turn Garrity loose. Offered me $1,500 in gold.
What'd you tell him?
I told him if he ever showed his face around there again, I'd break him in half. But I was bluffing, and he knew it.
Bluffing?
Well, I'm afraid for Edie. I tried to get her out of town, but she won't hear of it. I don't know. If it was only me, I'd spit in her eye, but Smitty, you know she's expecting. And if anything happened to her, anything happened to Edie, I don't know.
Well, what's the answer? Drink yourself to death?
No, I'll quit the department. I'm off the force. They got no use for me, right? They'll leave us alone.
Mr. Smith, he just come in. The guy with the scar.
I'm gonna tell that.
Hold it. Sit down. Go in there and hold him at the bar as long as you can.
All right. What are you going to do?
Never mind. Get going. I wonder what would happen if we played along with him.
You loco or something?
Maybe. But supposing you turned Garrity loose, I wonder where he'd go.
Why, he'd ride back to his boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have a lot of excitement, social life, too. For instance, we have a very, very nice wake going on tonight, if you're interested in that sort of a thing.
I don't remember inviting you to drink with me.
You thought it over?
Yeah, and I can't do it. I'm working for John Richards. I don't like him much, but he pays me $80 a month, so I do what he says.
Thought I'd find you here.
Go away, Smitty.
Get up.
I said go away.
You know what Richard said the last time you got drunk on duty?
I'm not drunk.
You keep out of this. You go out back and soak your head under that pump and report to the office in 10 minutes. You got that?
Get out of here.
You get yourself fired, you're no good to us, George. Got a wife to take care of now. Baby coming too, I hear. Might be you could use some money. How about it? You'll never get nowheres at $80 a month.
All right. Tell your friends I changed my mind.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me about this before?
You'd have fired him.
You know what you're putting in Romac's hands? Your reputation, my reputation, the whole department's.
I told you I'd trust him.
How do you know you can?
Gotta feel it.
Feeling. You and your feelings.
Hi. $500. Get the rest when I deliver them to Duggan.
What time is that?
Between midnight and 1 o'clock, Duggan's going to have a couple of horses at the Cherry Creek Bridge.
Where are they taking him?
Won't say. Wherever it is, though, they're going to make it about sunup. He did say that.
Garrity's bad leg, you'll have to walk his horse. And could trail him on foot.
Duggan doesn't suspect anything.
No, only that you might fire me before I can do him any good.
No, you're not going to get fired, George. But if this thing doesn't work out, I'm going to be the first police chief in history to get lynched, and you two are going to be right alongside me.
Well, I'll see you in about an hour.
Where you going now?
Come kiss Edie goodbye. Finally talked her into visiting her mom. Edie. Edie, hon, where are you? Edie? Edie? Where are you, hon?
She's gone, George.
Where is she?
Oh, now, don't worry. We'll take good care of her. Garrity ain't much of a one for taking chances. We just want to be sure whose side you're playing on.
What'll get done with her?
Hold it. That's far enough.
You won't pull that trigger. I'm no good to you dead, Duggan. Where is she? Tell me where she is. What have you done with her? Tell me, Duggan.
Now, what do you think, Smitty?
They probably headed south. Otherwise, there'd be no sense in meeting at the Cherry Creek Bridge.
South of our area. Dry Creek Dickens.
No. 4 hours at a walk could take you past there. Down around Plum Creek, I'd say. Somewhere along there.
They got Edie.
Where?
Tell him, Duggan. I said tell him, Duggan.
Plum Creek Church. There'll be 4 of them footed up down there. We'll need more men.
No. We ride in there with an army, they'll kill her. George and I take Duggan here in Garrity. We might be able to make a deal with them.
Funny, I was always told that women folks started jabbering like Polly Parrots when they were scared. Maybe you just ain't scared. Hey, Keith. 4 riders moving up outside. Well, that's just 2 too many. You expecting company, honey?
This is close enough. You know what to tell them. Mrs. Romack's delivered to us safe. We'll turn Garrity loose.
Suppose you don't.
I wouldn't suppose if I was you, Duggan. And another thing, if she's hurt in any way, you're going to lose the rest of that skin. That goes for anyone else that lays a hand on her. You tell them that.
Smith and Romack and who else? Nobody. You mean they came here alone?
Look, I told you. There's only the 2 of them and Garrity. Send him the woman and they turn him loose.
How do we know?
You don't. You take their word for it.
Not me. Fallon. Go up in the belfry and holler over to him. Tell them we bring the girl, they fetch Garrity. We'll meet him halfway. Sure worked you over, didn't he?
Shut up.
Is he dead? Might as well be for all the good he's going to do us now.
Smith! Romack! We'll meet you halfway. You bring Garrity, we bring the woman. You hear? Don't come without him.
You hear that? If we show up without him, they'll kill Edie. Come on, give me a hand.
Any sign of them? Nothing yet. What's keeping them? Here they come. All right, lady. Let's go.
Easy, George. Slow.
Duggan?
Yeah?
You sure that's Garrity?
Why?
Well, that leg of his cured up awful fast. He couldn't stand on it the other night.
Slow.
Kiefer!
I think they're on us.
Hold up!
Now. Any ideas, Smitty? Entertain them, George. I want to have a look around. Okay.
We dropped Edie off at her home, and George and I took the prisoners in. I knew there'd never be any question about George's past again. He'd more than lived it down. He proved it by living up to his job on the force. It sure pays to have a little faith in a man, especially when that man is your friend.
You know, was talk about the fast draws in the last segment. Who were the people that they considered to be the fastest draws?
Well, the fastest draw, I don't think there's been any one person decided this is the fastest. It's been a group, because Dale Robertson was extremely fast.
I heard he was. You know who I heard was the fastest, and again, this could be legend. Jerry Lewis. They said he was just lightning quick with that gun. That came from Sammy Davis Jr.
And I was just going to say, Sammy Davis Jr. was one of the upper-rated ones also.
I'm sure you saw the episode of The Rifleman where Sammy's doing the gun handling.
That's
and there's
correct.
a wonderful clip of him on a Las Vegas stage.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a clip of Jerry Lewis one night, and I think it's the only clip that I know of. He walks on the stage and he has his rig on, and he just starts drawing, and it's just amazingly quick. Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, you'd never thought.
No.
You'd never thought.
But you mentioned Glenn Ford, I think, was supposed to be.
Glenn Ford was very fast, too.
Dale Robertson, who else would be in that list?
Believe it or not, Chuck Connors could handle a handgun.
Really? The
Very well.
rifleman.
Yeah, the rifleman.
He actually could draw quick. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And, I've heard Glenn Ford, of course, we talked about Hugh O'Brien.
Correct.
But, you know,
Wyatt Earp from Wyatt
Earp,
Days.
and you know, of course, and you never see any of them doing it on camera just to be doing it. Like I said, you see Sammy do it on a couple different occasions. You saw Jerry Lewis do it on a couple different occasions. But I never saw a clip of Glenn Ford just standing there drawing to see how fast he was.
I never have either. I don't think he ever did. Because again, Glenn Ford was the type of actor that took his trade very seriously, and he wasn't a show-off.
Didn't have to prove it to anybody.
Didn't have to prove it to anybody.
That's amazing. Well, folks, let's get back to the show, and we'll talk some more when we get back.
Christy! He coming fast!
Take cover, men. Take cover. Snake was the fanatical leader of a small band of Arapaho. His daring guerrilla tactics had been causing plenty of trouble, and 3 officers had been killed under rather strange circumstances. My old friend Colonel Middleton wanted an undercover investigation. That's why George and I were here, decked out as soldiers.
Reckon you must be Captain Smith. Go right in, the old man's expecting you.
What's your name, Sergeant?
Stringer. Sir?
Sergeant Stringer, the next time we meet, I'll expect a salute from you. And I'll expect you to remember how to address an officer. Any questions?
Looks like another one of them spit and polish boys, Kurt.
Yeah. Another dandy target for that engine.
All 3 men were shot in the forehead with an Army revolver.
And Gray Snake has one.
Yes.
That's pretty good shooting for an Indian, Colonel. From the back of a running horse at that.
Too good. Oh, he might have got in a lucky shot. But he couldn't have killed all 3 men in the same way. No, much as I hate to think so, Tom, it has to be one of my own men.
What do the men think?
They seem to think it's Gray Snake, all right. He's becoming a legend with them. And that red devil certainly believes he's responsible. He's been boasting that his medicine is stronger than ours, and he'll wipe out all of our officers.
Sounds like someone's making use of that.
Yes. Someone who must have a grudge against officers.
I'll see that whoever it is has reason to hate me, too.
You'll have free hand in this, Tom. How do you want to proceed?
First, I'd like to find out all I can about the officers who were killed.
I have their files right here. Maybe you can find something I couldn't. This is Captain Carter's record. He was the first man killed. Lieutenant Andrews was a friend of the family. I practically raised him. Mason was just a kid. Been out here about a month.
That's a shame. Colonel, if it's all right with you, I'll take these over to my quarters and study them tonight.
Yes, certainly. Well, Carrie will be sorry she wasn't here to greet you. She's out riding. Should be back soon.
Out breaking some poor soldier's heart, I'll bet.
Yeah, she hasn't changed much. Oh, I warned her not to give you away.
Good. Colonel, it'll be a pleasure serving under you, sir.
Captain Smith, Corporal Forsythe. Corporal Forsythe, show the captain to his quarters.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Captain! You can put him away, Roger.
Yes, ma'am. You want to go riding the same time tomorrow?
No, I don't think so. Welcome to the fort, Captain. I'm Colonel Middleton's daughter, Carrie.
My pleasure, Miss Middleton.
Father and I'd be pleased if you'd join us for supper tonight.
You're a servant, ma'am. Don't you know enough to knock when you enter officers' quarters, Corporal?
I'm sorry, sir. Smitty, we gotta go through all this business.
You need the practice.
I'll never get the hang of it. Boy, sure look neat in this getup, Smitty. Wish I could have been an officer.
You don't mind your manners, I might just break you to buck private.
Well, you wouldn't talk like that if you know where I've been this afternoon.
No?
Well, I've been doing some nosing around. Little detective on my own. Come up with some hot suspects for you.
Well, that's good work, George. What?
Well, Smitty, you'll find this hard to believe. But you know, just about every soldier on this fort's got a bone to pick with officers.
You're a big help, George. Thanks a lot.
Where my heart longs to be. But
Beautiful night, isn't it, Tom? Look at that moon.
You know, Carrie, this Army life's not too bad.
It has its moments. I don't recognize that voice.
Oh, that's my orderly.
It's wonderful having you here, Tom. Seems like old times.
It does bring back a few pleasant memories, doesn't it?
Yes. What?
What's your name, soldier?
Private Owen, sir.
Roger, what are you doing here?
Well, Nothing.
Why were you hiding?
Well, I thought I heard something in the stable, sir.
You certainly took a roundabout course getting there. All right, on your way, soldier.
Yes, sir.
Carrie, I think that young man's stuck on you.
Maybe a little. Poor fellow seems so lonesome all the time. I try to be nice to him.
You know, I bet every man in this fort is secretly in love with you.
I don't have much competition.
Boys are lucky to have you around.
I don't know, Tom. It seems I've been bad luck for the men I've really cared about.
What do you mean?
Captain Carter and I had just announced our engagement when he was killed.
I'm sorry.
I was lonesome and unhappy. Bob Andrews came here shortly after. He and I had practically grown up together. It's good to have someone to confide in. I was just getting to be myself again, and after that, I didn't want to make friends with anyone for a long time. Then young Lieutenant Mason came here. We were just starting to become friends when... Oh, Tom, do be careful.
I intend to.
Got a lot to learn. You ain't my Captain O'Neill.
You showed up here with it. You know, it's bad enough to have to serve in this stinking place without having to put up with officers like him, shoving his weight around. Gentlemen. By act of Congress.
That kind don't last long around here. Well, don't blame me for bringing him out here. He brought me.
You ain't much better.
What did you mean by that?
Take it any way you like.
Come on, man, break it up. How about another song?
Oh, say, Corporal, when you get your nerve built up enough, remember, I got first crack at you.
You know, I'm going to oblige you. Right now, though, let's do Army on. Pep up this rifle outfit.
3 years ago this very day, I went to Governor's Isle to stand for an instant cannon in true military style. Our 13 American dollars each month we surely get to carry a gun and bayonet with a military step. Yo, there's Sergeant John McCafferty and Corporal Donahue. They make us march up to the crack and gallant company queue. The drums they roll upon me soul, for that's the way we go. 40 miles a day on beans and hay in a regular army, oh. The best of all the officers is Second Lieutenant McDuff. Of smoking and of sleeping, he never got enough. Says the captain, all we want of you is to go to Reveille, and we'll let the first sergeant stay and run the company. Yo, there's Sergeant John McCafferty and Corporal Donahue. They make us march up to the crack and gallant company queue. The drums they roll upon me soul, for that's the way we go. 40 miles a day on beans and hay in a regular army, oh.
Yeehaw! Hey, let's hunt!
I thought taps sounded over an hour ago. I'm going to establish a little discipline in this outfit. What's wrong with your hat, O'Neill? Is it glued on? What kind of an example are you setting for these men, Sergeant?
A good example for a real soldier. Sir?
If you're looking for trouble, Sergeant, I'll see that you get plenty of it.
Well, why not now?
Just a minute, Sergeant. Let's be fair about this. You promised me the first dance, remember?
right, that's enough, both of you. Well, you men seem to have a lot of excess energy. That's fine. I think I know just the way to help you get rid of it. I want every one of you on that parade ground at daybreak. And you two will get a little special attention. Now, lights out.
Well, we've got some very nice items, not just with Audie, but I've got a Japanese bonsai battle flag from Iwo Jima.
Oh, wow.
I've also got the flag that flew over the American embassy in Saigon when the Tet Offensive struck in 1968. And I've got a rosette from the train that took Alvin York around New York City in 1919.
Oh, wow. That's an amazing thing.
Awards and ribbon racks of General George Marshall, General Patton, General Doolittle, Admiral Bulkley, Richard Bong, who was our top Army aviator in World War II, and David McCampbell was the top naval aviator in World War II, and of course, numerous of Audie's uniforms and awards.
Oh, that's amazing. How do you acquire such things? Is it mostly just word of mouth and people knowing people?
It was my mom and my aunt that acquired the majority of the Audie Murphy items because they worked with him.
Because they knew him.
Yeah, and they knew him when he was a nobody, no money. They just helped him when he didn't have anything. So Audie was the type of person that if you ever help me, I'll never forget you. And they just acquired stuff.
Oh, that's amazing.
Not you, Corporal and Sergeant Stringer. You two still look fresh. I think you better take a few more turns around. Come on the double. Close it up, Romac.
Speak to you, sir.
Well,
Gosh, Smitty, ain't this carrying things a little too far?
had to make it look real, George. Besides, you can spare the pounds.
But I'm plumb played
That'll
out.
be all, Corporal. On the double, close it up.
On guard! Detailed, hit, hut! All right, let's liven it up a little bit. On guard! Detailed, hit, hut! At ease. You men handle these sabers like a bunch of pitchforks.
Tom said he'd give all the men good reason to hate him. He's off to a good start.
I hope he doesn't carry it too far.
Corporal Forsyth. Hit. Hut! 2 paces forward. Push. You seem to know what you're doing with that. On guard. Come on, soldier. You can do better than that. You handle that saber well, soldier.
Thank you.
system worked. You'll never guess what I found out.
That he graduated from Virginia Military Institute, and his name isn't Forsyth.
Well, how'd you figure that out?
Only a Confederate officer would have handled a saber like he did, and VMI taught most of it.
Now, what's the use of me missing my lunch if you already know all about him?
I don't know his real name, George.
Well, it's Lieutenant Wayne F. Charlton.
Charlton, huh? I'm not too surprised. A lot of Southern officers came out to the frontier to join the Army after the war.
Wasn't there Charltonville burned to the ground during Sherman's march?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there was.
According to these records, Carter served with Sherman.
That's right. Should we call Forsyth in for questioning?
Well, not yet, Colonel. Let's don't tip her hand. There's nothing definite here to link him to the murders of Andrews and Mason. Captain Carter seems to have made a lot of enemies.
Yes. Carter was a good officer, but too much of a disciplinarian.
I noticed you had to warn him about flogging. And some of the men he had whipped are still here. Owens and O'Neill, for instance.
I left Carter in charge once when I had to go back east. The men were ready to mutiny when I returned. That's when I called him up about the whippings. Soldiers won't take too much of that.
He had a run-in with Stringer, too, didn't he?
That sergeant's always been in trouble with the officers. He resents all West Point men. Thinks he's a much better soldier than any of them. About half right, too.
Well, there are 3 or 4 men here who could be guilty. I think we'd better call them a little closer before we come out in the open.
I hope everything goes well, Tom.
Good luck.
Thanks, Carrie. I'll see you this evening, huh? George and I hadn't been able to uncover anything new, and Chief Richards had only loaned us to the Army for a week. So I decided we'd have to bring things to a head.
Forward! Ho!
Captain, don't you think we ought to be riding down in the gullies out of sight? Every engine in the country will spot us up here.
I want any advice from you, Stringer. I'll ask for it.
done a good job, Tom. I know it wasn't easy to keep your eyes on the Indians when you knew that one of your own men had a pistol pointed at the back of your head.
Well, at least when I turned around, I had a pretty good idea where to look. George was keeping his eyes on Forsyth, and I'd kept track of Owens.
And Sergeant Stringer?
Once I heard him pop off, I didn't suspect him any longer. You see, unlike Owens, he had a safety valve.
Wonder what made Owens do it.
I think I know now. I didn't realize before, but he was jealous of me. Why, he even tried to discourage my engagement to Captain Carter. I didn't pay any attention to him at the time, just thought he was a silly kid.
That's not your fault, Carrie. Owens was jealous of Carter, but he never would have killed him if it hadn't been for the whippings. When his scheme worked so well, he decided to use it again.
Well, it's all over now.
Guess maybe I earned an extra stripe, Sir? Oh, heck, Smitty.
You know, George, I think you'd make an excellent civilian.
Now, I wonder if I might prevail upon you two to accept one more serious assignment for me.
Of course, Colonel.
I think it'll do Carrie good to go back east for a while. Would you and George mind escorting her to the stagecoach line in Denver?
Colonel, that's the nicest assignment we've ever had.
Dinner?
Corporal George Romack was eager to get his discharge from the Army. But I must admit, for some reason or other, I wasn't in any rush at all to get back to civilian life.
You know, kid, I've been practicing with these a long time. Maybe one day you'll get that good. Pretty good. Tell us what we're going to see at the Audie Murphy Museum.
Well, at the Audie Murphy Museum, I have some of the rarest items ever in existence of his. His favorite horse was a horse by the name of Joe Queen. Joe Queen was the Colorado State quarter horse champion in 1955. Audie bought Joe in '56 with the money he made from To Heaven Bound. Also, he bought 35 other horses and that huge 18,000 acre ranch in Vail. And the purpose of all that was to become a horse breeder and a cattle rancher.
As if he wasn't busy enough.
As if he wasn't busy enough.
And he became a very good, didn't you say he was going to be nominated into the Quarter Horse Hall of Fame? Is that correct?
That is correct. Right now, there's a wrangler up in Colorado named Billy Jack that's working on getting Audie inducted into the American Quarter Horse Association Hall of Fame, along with his horse, Joe Queen.
That's amazing. Well, folks, we're just about out of time for this episode, but tell us one more time, where's the museum located?
We're at 15 North 4th Street, Tombstone, Arizona. Come on out to the town, Too Tough to Die.
And the website is?
AudieMurphyMuseum.com.
And folks, we really want to thank Mr. Gray for joining us today and talking about the legendary Audie Murphy. And if you get a chance, if you're anywhere near the area, you definitely want to go to this museum. If you're an Audie Murphy fan, you're never going to find a better collection in the entire world. Thank you very much for taking the time to sit down and talk with us.
And I thank you.
back is the true story of the heartbreak, the humor, the guts and glory of every GI, as seen through the eyes of one of them. Audie Murphy, the kid who on the field of battle won every decoration for valor his country had to give, to become the most decorated soldier for combat action in the military history of the United States. It is the story of a Texas farm kid who at the age of 12 fought his first war against hunger and who became a man the hard way. Of the 6 strangers who became like brothers, Johnson, Kovacs, Kerrigan, the Chief, Manning, Brandon.
Come on, they can kill us, but they can't eat us.
It is also the story of the girls who met them on the way.
When war is close, a woman wants someone to hold.
Trouble is making friends. Learn to love guys like Kovac and Johnson. Well, isn't it?
Only one guy could play the part. The guy who lived it and wrote about it. The guy who was there.
How close are they?
Oh, fine, I'll let you talk to them.
That tank is loaded with gas and ammo. It'll blow up any minute.